Hey, hello, how you doing? So it's something important that I want to say. Everybody knows I'm a Rasta. It's on my police record. It's believe it or not, it's everybody, all my whole family, like everybody, I'm a known Rastafarian, like the my police record says. And I've done time because I'm a Rastafarian. And so I've lived a lifetime of studying, uh, black people's history. And, because I speak Spanish, I've been bilingual more than half of my life. I've always had half of my friends have been Spanish speaking. And then when I have jobs, I'm the translator. And just, I've also lived a life around, heavy submerged in the Hispanic culture as well. And I've never been racist since I was a little kid. It's not one of the issues I've had in my life. But especially because of my exposure to black history, my dreadlocks and everything. I know that white people do come from a history of dreadlocks. That's a in the black people community. That's something that's many of them believe that's false. It comes from India, and it also has been in Europe, and everybody's had dreadlocks. Really, I don't know if Native Americans have ever had dreadlocks, but I think everybody else has. But anyway, because of that, it's worse if I'm racist. Like if I walked around saying racial jokes and racial slurs and being racist, it would be significantly worse than if somebody else did. It would be 10 times worse, you know? So, you know, because it's just, that would be really evil because I know better so very much. So, something I want to say right now is that I only recently have heard that black people don't want to, in America, don't want to be called African American. And it's probably only been 3 months ago I heard that concept proposed to me. And it made sense right at first. And I thought I've had more time to think about it. And I officially have denounced, I no longer use the term African American. So the way it really is supposed to work in the English language is like for me, my ancestry is French, really French Canadian on one side, and everybody else pretty much is English. And so you wouldn't say I'm French English American. I'm not a French English American. What you do is when if I was from France and England and America, if I had somehow had three different citizenships in my lifetime, then I would be French, English, American. But if you're talking about my ancestry, I'm an American by my citizenship, then I would be. You use the old-fashioned term, Franco, Anglo, American. I'm a Franco, Anglo, American. If you're Spanish, Spain used to be called Hispania. Now it's called Spain or España, but it used to be called Hispania. Even in Spanish, Española. I can't remember something. I can't remember for sure the true name, but Hispania we'll say because this is English, and so that's like Hispanic. So in proper English, Spanish speakers in America might want to be called Latin American, or there might be a variety of different names. But proper English, it might be Hispanic American. Because that's the old name for Spain, and I'm Franco-Anglo-American. Therefore, black people, you might say they're Afro-American, not African-American, but Afro-American, because Afro is not a place, and then you can tell that it means their roots. But as it turns out, I've read a book about the history of black people, a very in-depth book about the history. A whole committee of black people did this study and wrote a 2-volume book, and I read both volumes about the different names black people have had throughout the centuries and centuries and centuries of history. And a common denominator, it's not always been the case, but generally the names black people have had in the different nations, the different places of black people, has been a reference to their skin color. For example, Ethiopia means the burnt-faced people. And Ham means hot, because like their skin's hot. It's like there's a common denominator of a reference to their skin, and that it's sunny and hot and burnt face and dark and black. you know. And so therefore, and when you watch movies with black people in it, you never hear them call each other. We're African Americans. We're an African American. You know, they call each other black. You know, that's black. We're black. You know, and so I can see why they want to be called black. And I believe that you know, the person, you know, like I'm transgender. People are all, no, there's no such a thing as transgender. It's wrong. Wrong. Everybody gets to be called whatever they want to be called. Like, what kind of person thinks they should decide what another person should be called? You know, ooh, gross. Some people are so disgusting. If they want to be called black people, let them call them black people. But if you want to do that other thing, maybe Afro-American. But African-American, the reason it's bad, I can see it. I can understand it. It's because it's conducive. You know, it supports the wrong side of the argument. It supports the side of the argument of people that means them harm and ill will. You know, so maybe Afro-American, but more likely just black people. Black, you know, they're black and they're Americans, or just call them Americans. You know, what's their ethnicity? They're black. You know, and just try to avoid the whole thing because they want to, and because it's just kind of you can't go wrong if you use that word. It's the word for black, and it's consistent with the larger picture of their people's history, and it's what they want. You know, and it's not what the neo-Nazis you don't hear neo-Nazis call them black very often. You know, why do they? You know, it's just so anyway. So this video is about in the name of the example that I am for and Haile Selassie is my mentor. You know, my whole trick, like, Angie, how do you do it? How are you so incredibly not racist? And the answer is, I follow the teachings of Haile Selassie. And Bob put he said many things about race, many things. But the most significant moment, Bob turned that into his song called War. So listen to Bob Marley's song War, and you know, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. See? Because if you're afraid to talk about them being black, that's kind of like being racist, you know? Just like how you wouldn't say, hey, you have really beautiful blue eyes. You know, just like you would say that, you might say, hey, you know, you have really beautiful black skin. You might not say that, but you know what I mean? Just, you know, add a few dashes. If you know you're innocent, don't forget to add a few dashes of innocence to your speech. But be educated and not ignorant. You know, that's the trick.